Welcome to the Secular HubCast. I'm Jesse Gilbertson. Today we're joined by a very special guest, Seth Andrews.
Good to be here, man.
Seth, thank you very much for visiting.
Yeah, it's a real joy.
Yeah, Seth is a host of the Thinking Atheist podcast. In addition, you're an author, you are a public speaker, an all-around
Loud person.
loud person.
Yeah, I'm just a big mouth that's part of the movement that used to believe and now I don't believe anymore. And I just sort of want to encourage other people that it's okay not to believe in the supernatural and magic, and it's okay to find your own voice. And so that's kind of been my thing. I'm speaking in Denver, and so we had a chance to speak here, and it's good to be here.
Well, absolutely. I'm really glad you're here. Your show is a little bit in the DNA of this show because I've been listening to you for quite a few years. Most people around here have heard your show at least a little bit. And you've actually been to Denver 3 or 4 times, is that right?
Times, yeah.
A few times? Yeah, I've seen your name around and I've seen pictures of you. So it's really good to meet you in person. I'm pretty excited
Thanks,
about
man.
it. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your show, The Thinking Atheist, and what prompted you to form it. Was it just a free speech thing, or what was it for you?
Well, you got to remember I was just freshly emerged from Christianity in 2008. I was in my late 30s before I really sort of figured out that all the stuff I had assumed and all the stuff I'd been indoctrinated with was false. And so I was kind of looking for a community. I was a video and audio producer, so I was able to, use those abilities to create content, but I needed an outlet for the content, So if I wanted to make a video that talked about the things I was discovering, where would I publish it? And so I started The Thinking Atheist as a YouTube page, and then I went to the website and social media beyond that, and started the radio station, or the radio show in 2010. And mostly I was just, I wanted to kind of get it out there. I wanted to express myself, and I was desperate for community. I didn't have any community where I lived. They were all believers.
Sure.
So, The Thinking Atheist became a place where other people who were skeptical of religion could sort of belong and serve multiple purposes.
Okay. So at the beginning, it was a way for you to express yourself and to find like-minded people, to be able to share ideas and to find people who agreed with you, who said it was okay to be yourself, to be a non-believer.
Not just agreed with me, but who were interested in the facts. So there were times when I would post something that was factually wrong, but instead of taking it on faith, they would send me a message and say, hey, this is factually wrong. Sure. And then that was actually a chance for me to be, it was one of the first times I had not been in a reinforcement culture, but I'd been in a let's discover the truth, let's look at the evidence culture and be prepared to change our minds culture. And it was a real, it's not always fun to be corrected, but it was something I really wanted in my own life. I want to be surrounded by fellow skeptics, but at the same time, let's sharpen each other's knives and let's all try to make each other better.
Okay. I like it. That's clearly something you were successful at because your audience has grown. As I've been listening to you, and I've heard you pull in sort of bigger and bigger fish in terms of the interviews that you do. Has the mission for the Thinking Atheist changed over the years?
Not really. I mean, always people will say, well, what are you trying to do? And I always say, I want to learn something new. I want to help people. And so I've been fortunate in the course of the show. I mean, I've been able to interview people like Dawkins and, those guys who've been so instrumental to me, and, talking to people like, everybody from Penn Jillette to John Delancey, who was huge for me. I'm a Star Trek Next Generation fan, and he played Q, and he was, he was in Breaking Bad. And I've had I got to speak to the father of the head of the Church of Scientology. Those types of things are sort of milestones. Right. But at the end of the day, it's all really about giving people permission, reminding them that it's okay to be whoever they are. And it's interesting because as I conduct many of these interviews, it's not just that I'm asking questions that the listeners might want to know an answer to. I'm asking because I want to know too.
Sure.
We're all taking the journey together, and it's something I hope that will continue. We all just try to learn new things, and at the same time try to remind each other that it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Like your instincts, your creativity, your intellectual desire to learn more. You just follow what's natural for you, and it just so happens that a lot of other people are thinking the same thing, going in the same direction as you. Yeah. So you're basically a leader for a lot of people.
I mean, I think some people are naturally more probably on the front lines. There are those who reject the idea of leadership, but I mean, I don't mind. I've always kind of been out there swinging for the fences. There are some people who would not be comfortable being on the forefront of these conversations. They're gifted or interested in other ways of being an activist. And so I think it comes down to find what you're good at, find how you're wired, and do that. And so my thing has always been, I'm a storyteller. And so I'll fire up the campfire and we all sit around and we tell stories,